Malin Akerman, what was the most exciting thing for you coming onto the show Billions?
Oh my goodness. What wasn't? I think every element was exciting. You know, the first thing that drew me in was the strong female characters. I had been actively looking for something that was a little bit more dramatic, that had gave me something to sink my teeth into. I love my character. Lara Axelrod is just a really strong, tough woman. And, you know, the writing is brilliant. It's on Showtime, which is one of my favorite networks. It was just all the elements came together. Every single actor that they've hired on this, from Paul Giamatti to Damian Lewis to Maggie Siff. I mean, everyone is just incredible. So it was a no-brainer, really.
I feel like at the moment we're getting more like strong female characters on television, maybe even more so than film.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that not only strong female characters, but great writing. I mean, everyone's kind of moving towards television because there's so many new outlets. I mean, there's Amazon and Netflix, and everyone's doing original content. And I feel like because of that, you know, big studios aren't having to put down a ton of money on a big film, which may or may not work. I mean, I think that's sort of what the fear was. I was talking to someone who was in the Sex and the City movie, and, you know, even though that was a huge hit on television and they had this movie, they weren't even making quite as much as the men were, even though it was a massive hit. So, you know, and that was years ago now, but I feel like it's shifted a lot, and I feel like television has allowed us to really explore new roles and new content. And so, yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting that it's moving more in that direction.
Yeah, like it's because like I guess like 10, 15 years ago, people worried that because of reality TV becoming such a big thing that there'd be less original content being made. And it seems like really the sort of HBO and Showtime are at the forefront, but now so many other basic cable and streaming services are making that content too. So it must be exciting to be part of like TV in this sort of like boom when maybe 15 years ago people thought, oh no, there's going to be less and less original content.
Absolutely. I was one of those people who was extremely worried, not only for my career, because all this reality TV was taking over, but mainly just because it's just mind-numbing, you know. Other than there's some really great reality TV shows, you know, like I really like Flip Your House and The Voice and things where it allows people to show their creativity and maybe make something of it. But then there's these brain-numbing, you know, people in a house getting drunk and one sleeping with the other. You know, it was just nuts that was taking over. And what are we teaching the next generation? So I think that it's nice to see that it didn't go in that direction, and it's nice to see that all these new outlets are taking chances on really great shows, you know, and new characters and new subject matter, and taking a bit more of a chance on something that might be a bit more risque.
Now, on the show, you get to act opposite Damian Lewis a lot. He's sort of like, you play his wife, and he's sort of like your like acting partner as well on the show. You get most of your scenes with him. How do you approach your scenes with Damian on the show?
You know, I was really lucky that Damian is a very charming, charismatic human being who, you know, the both of us hit it off really quickly. And I think obviously chemistry is key when you're playing husband and wife. And we just so happen to like each other, which is a good thing. So, you know, that already there, it takes a lot of pressure off, making this relationship real, because our friendship was immediate. But for me, of course, the nerves kicked in, because here I am acting with an amazing theater-trained actor. And I myself am coming from the comedy world, which is very different. The preparation is very different. So for me, really, all I could do was come in, be prepared, because Damian is very prepared, and really be present and do my best. And that's the only way you could approach it. As far as our characters go, you know, we had a lot of chats together and with the show creators, sort of what their idea was, where they came from, what it is that bonds them as a couple. And I think the core to their relationship is their sense of family values. That really is the most important thing to them. And that's where I think that's why we were able to create such a real couple in such a strange, heightened reality of billionaires, you know, and what would that look like, and how can we make it somewhat grounded and relatable? So that was a bit of the process going into it.
Did you have a favorite moment from the first season of shooting with Damian, or something, you know, fun happen at all during the whole season?
You know, the whole season was a blast. I think I like the tender moments. There is, this is going to sound weird, but there's a post-coital moment out on the lawn, and he's just telling a story, and it was such a beautiful day that day, and it was such a nice sort of bonding moment for us as actors and as characters, and it was just really lovely. I like when you get moments to breathe, when a scene has breath in it, and it, you know, this whole show is very heightened. There's a lot of adrenaline, and there's a lot happening all the time. So I think those moments for me, when I get to play them and when I read it in the script, they have a big impact on me.
Yeah. And you also had you got a lot of scenes with Damian, but you had one sort of a pretty big scene with Maggie Siff, and that was especially in episode 9, and like that was sort of fun because like Damian you get to do stuff with all the time. The Maggie scene had sort of been building like up to, and was sort of like what was it like when you read that scene for the first time?
Oh my God, I was so excited. I truly think I just shouted out loud, you know, yes, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. It was a fantastic scene. Those are the moments too that I love with Lara, is when she comes in and she becomes the tigress, the you know, she's about to pounce, and it's just that, it's that cool calm that someone has when they have that much power, and I love playing that. I loved playing that with Maggie. I love Maggie. She's a phenomenal actress, and it was such an interesting day for one, be playing with someone other than Damian Lewis, but to have this really climactic, heightened scene between the two women of the show. It's like every time we get to see Paul and Damian together on screen, it's also quite heightened, and there's a lot going on under the surface. And so, yeah, it was an exciting day. Both Maggie and I really enjoyed it, and we hope that we'll have more of that in season 2.
As you said, it's sort of like this sort of with Damien, you get to do a lot of him, but you like maybe that was your first one where there's sort of little like habits and tropes you've gotten used to with Damien that you had to like readjust with like Maggie sort of does things a bit differently, or?
Not really, you know, I mean, every actor is different, but I think this group is, everyone's so easygoing. There's no one who kind of goes method, or, you know, like everyone kind of has a similar synergy. It just feels like a real family. And, you know, I've hung out with Maggie outside of being on set, and so it just feels like you're around friends the whole time, which is lovely.
With I guess the interesting thing is you spend so little time all season with Maggie, but yeah, it does seem like because of her character's such intimate relationship with Axe, that her character, I would imagine, has a big effect on your character, even though they're not sharing that much scenes. How do you think Wendy impacts your character, like in the biggest way, since she does have such an intimate relationship with your husband?
Yeah, it's a good question. That is something that I thought about quite a bit. And, you know, I think Wendy is the only woman in Lara's life who can get under her skin just a bit. Because, I mean, Lara has some tough skin, and she's pretty stable in her relationship. She doesn't have much jealousy. She doesn't have much to worry about. But I think Maggie is, or Wendy, is, you know, a bit of a threat, because Lara knows that she's the one person who Bobby really trusts, who he really talks to, probably in a deeper way than he does with Lara. And you see it, you know, I hope you know, there are moments where I just feel like, although Wendy's been in their lives for a long time, and they are friends, and they see each other at events and galas and whatnot, there's that little bit of jealousy and a little bit of friction, and that's why, you know, when it comes to the fact that she's also married to Paul Giamatti's character, I mean, everything put together it's the one person that is a bit of a red flag in Lara's life, for sure.
Mm. Is it ever annoying that you don't get more stuff with Paul Giamatti?
Yes, I want stuff with Paul. I love Paul. You know, I was lucky enough that I got to work with him on a film, and we became fast buddies then. And we've even said, we're like, God, please put us together season 2. We'd love to do some stuff. So we'll see if our wishes come true, because he's so fantastic. I mean, he's such a brilliant actor and such a lovely human being. So hopefully season 2 will bring us together a bit.
Yeah. Is it possible if you like tilt up your laptop a bit or lean back a bit? Just when you lean in, your head gets cut off a little bit.
Yep.
Not too bad, but like, yeah, that's great. Okay. So, what you said, the thing that brought you to this series was the strong female characters was one of the big things. What do you think the strongest thing is about Lara?
I think it's her drive. I think that in reality, I think that is such a huge strength in general. And I think that she's 100% driven. I mean, if she gets an idea and she wants something and she needs something, she will go get it. And that in and of itself is such a big strength. She just happens to have a few extra connections to get what she wants at this point. But I think that's what got her there. That's what got her to a place, you know, she comes from humble beginnings. And there is a bit of a parallel. The one parallel that her and I have in our lives, Lara and myself, is I've also come from humble beginnings, and it's coming from that into Hollywood. And for her, it's coming into this new society of billionaires and millionaires, and sort of negotiating that world and figuring out how that works. And I think the only way to get through it really is, and the only way to get there is with a massive drive to get anywhere, and that creates power. And it comes out in different ways, but you know, some people like to kill him with kindness, and some people like to kill him with threats, like Lara does. But yeah, she's unafraid and completely driven.
What's the biggest difference between you and Lara?
I probably would never threaten someone the way she does so freely. I am more of a kill them with kindness type of person. So I think that is a big difference between us. I'm not quite as full on as she is, and I'm not as power hungry either. I think there's a bit of her with her and Bobby. There's a bit of a turn on. The more power, you know, that they have, and that's why she eggs him on sometimes. And when he sees, you know, he wants to change the name of a building, and she likes that. She wants him to go in and make it happen, and she enjoys that. I think that's a bit of their game, what keeps the spark in the relationship. And I'm a little different that way.
What do you think drives their marriage? Like, what do you think the big thing is there? Is it a very affectionate marriage? Is it one which is like based on sort of power and mutual interest? Like, what do you think the driving force is behind that?
I think it is. I think it's definitely a mutual respect for one another. I think it's an understanding of where they came from. I think there's a comfort level there that always feels like home, because they're so out of the realm of where they came from. So I think that there are a few of those factors that keep them together. And I don't think it's it's not that it's not an affectionate relationship. They're quite happy in their marriage. I think I think they sleep with each other on a regular basis. If we're going to get intimate into their intimate relationship, I think they're quite happy and satisfied in that sense. And I think it is the fact that they're both quite driven people, and I think that turns them on in each other, and that they're quite independent, that they're not needy or codependent. And I think that's a big thing for them, is not to be hanging on to one another. I think they both need their independence and their own lives in order for their relationship to thrive.
And I guess when like push came to shove at the end of the season, it was, okay, we're ready to move. We're going to Europe together. This is what we'd planned for. This is what we'd talked about. It's happening.
Yeah, totally. They'll stick together through thick and thin, no matter what. The love is there for sure.
If you had to submit an episode for the Emmys, if you got nominated for supporting actress in a drama series of billions, what episode do you think you'd choose?
Good question. I might just choose episode 9, the one with Maggie. I think that was such a great one. Trying to remember. I mean, there's everything just sort of melts into one, so it's hard to say specifically. But that, for me, that was one of my favorite moments with Lara.
And if you get nominated, you can then watch episode 9 again and see if, oh yeah, they do have those scenes I remember and stuff like that. So you don't have to decide right now.
Okay, good. It just sounds so funny to even think of being nominated. That's such a crazy concept. So yeah, that would be amazing.
9 would be a good one though. 9 would be a good one. What do you reckon Billions' primary appeal is?
I think, there's a fascination with Wall Street and the 1%. And I think because it affects the whole world, it's a global thing, and the fall of Wall Street in 2008, and, it's all we're all interconnected through that. And I think people are curious. I think, this show does a really good job in bringing you into a place where you can find some sort of relatability, be it the families or, situations that certain episodes just grapple with different topics. And I just feel like it's a really good, really well done show that, I gotta say, I was actually quite surprised how it has such a mass appeal, because I thought maybe it would be a bit of a niche for people who are in the financial world. But everyone, from my mom, who likes to watch funny comedies, she got into it and thought it was really great. And I was really surprised by that, because I really didn't think that it was going to be her thing. So I just feel like people are curious about that world, and we get to live a little bit vicariously through it. And there's also a lot of truth to, I think a lot of these episodes are drawn from real life stories. We have Andrew Ross Sorkin, who's on our writing team and one of the creators, and he's been in the financial world for a long time and has a lot of great stories. So I think a little bit of the reality mixed with, grounding it in some real relationships creates a fascination.
Do you miss not do you miss, but like you said, you sort of like coming from a bit of more of a comedy background and things like that. Do you miss, because it's not a very comedic show, like you don't get to probably to test your comedic chops too much. There might be a funny line here and there, like in the scripts, but do you miss comedy, or is there a way that you sort of try to meet that, scratch that itch that you've got?
I'm okay for the moment, this is sort of the itch that I've been wanting to scratch for a long time, is is something different, because I love comedy, and I always do little things here and there. Like today I just did a little thing for Comedy Bang Bang, and I'm always happy to go and do anything that's comedic. It just feels like, seeing an old best friend. But this is like my new shiny toy that I get to play with. This is a moment to try something new, and I'm really enjoying the challenge. I feel like anytime I go to set, I'm extremely nervous, and I am challenged, and I feel like there's a lot of growth that's happening. I'm inspired every day by the people that I'm working with, and so all of that is really great. And so I can't say I miss comedy, but I'll also say that I'm not going to ever give it up. I'm always going to go back to it and have a little fun, and because I do love it so much. But I'm very satisfied at the moment.
Are you the funniest person on set, or does that honor go to someone else?
I'm not. I think that there's a lot of characters on set. I think everyone's got a great sense. I found that it's interesting because a lot of dramatic actors are really funny in real life, and comedians can sometimes be pretty dark. Their comedy comes from a dark place. So it's a really interesting sort of, not that, they can also be really funny off screen as well, comedians, but it's just, it's amazing. Everyone's it's pretty witty. The humor off camera on this set is pretty witty and very quick. We've got Damian, who's a Brit. They have that British humor that's just lovely. So no, I'd say that there are quite a few comedians on set. We have a good time.
Yeah. Who's the funniest?
Funniest. Well, what choice do I have? I work with Damian all the time, so I guess Damian would be the funniest in my world.
Yeah. Is there a funny Damian story or moment from last season?
I'm so bad at anecdotes. I'm so bad at remembering moments. Some people are really good at that, but I couldn't tell you if there was. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm bad at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Like when you're on when you're on the talk shows, they send you the questions ahead of time,
and I'm always bad at that one. I never have a good one, and it's because it feels like so long ago. I'm gonna make an excuse for myself that I have mommy brain. That those kind of things just kind of escape very easily and quickly. But yeah, I'll have to think of that for next time. It'll have to be a follow-up.
Yeah, no worries at all. What should we be excited for with season 2, or what are you excited for with season 2?
I don't have a clue. They haven't told us a thing of what is going on. We're all in the dark right now. So I'm hoping that season 2 will bring Lara into the boys' world a little more, so that I get an opportunity to work with Paul Giamatti, and maybe get in there, get my hands dirty in that world a little more. But I really don't have a clue because they won't share anything with us just yet.
Oh, that's exciting. You like us.
Yeah, it's exciting and a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think Lara's a villain? Is she a villain in the series, or are we meant to root for it? What do you think?
No, I don't think she's a villain. I don't think there are any heroes of villain. Or I guess if there's one person who comes out sort of as a hero, I think it would be Wendy, Maggie Siff's character.
Yeah.
But other than her, I think that everyone is sort of in a gray area where you can flip-flop from episode to episode, as to whether or not you're rooting for Chuck, or whether or not you're rooting for Bobby, or if Lara's just, supporting her husband and being a good wife and mother and looking out for her family. So I think you can come from different angles. But listen, does she come out sort of as an ice queen and a hard woman? Yeah, absolutely. But where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from a protective nature. She's just trying to look after the people that she loves. So does that make her a villain? I don't know. Everyone will probably have a different opinion about that.
It's a really interesting show because it is sort of this big game of cat and mouse between sort of Bobby and Chuck and Axe. And I think that makes it it's not like we get the show from one of those perspectives.
Right. Exactly.
like we see both sides of it, and it's very much it's sort of almost two shows, like not two shows, but two stories.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes it interesting too. I mean, there's the episode where Bobby goes to the fireman's station and explains what his reasoning was and how he made his money on 9/11, on the victims of, and it sounds so crazy, sounds so wrong, but at the same time, there's something in it that you go, well, I guess that's okay then if he's making money to take care of the families who lost their loved ones. So, I mean, there's, again, even just that speech, I mean, when I read that, I was questioning, like, wow, well, how would I really feel about that? And because he is taking care of them, and was it, you know, he couldn't have predicted that, but he jumped at the opportunity, and, you know, people make money in weird ways, and, you know, so the question of right or wrong always comes up in this show, and I do really love that. And even with, you know, Paul Giamatti, who's supposed to be defending and looking after the law, is kind of shady the way he goes about things as well. So you question everything that he does, and I love that because it's real. It's more human, you know, than when you have good versus bad. This is way more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much, Malin, for talking with us today. It was so exciting. Yeah.
Very, very nice to talk to you, and I'm jealous that you're over there in Sydney. It's one of my favorite cities. I love Australia.
Well, you any plans to come down here soon?
Not any plans, but I know it is in my near future. I haven't planned it out yet. I'd love to come back and see. I love Sydney and Melbourne both equally as much. So I'd like to take my son there one day soon.
Oh, that'd be nice. Well, maybe do a movie or something, because like
the word out there.
Movie, like they film movies down here, but also like if you do a movie over there, they often like send people down to promote it, and then you can do a bit of travel time around that too.
Perfect. I like the way you think. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, we'll hopefully see you down here soon, Malin. Thanks. Thanks for the chat.
All right. Take care.